Have you ever wondered why some countries thrive while others struggle? Why your parents always talk about the economic? Well, it starts with two simple words: economic growth.
What is economic growth? Economic growth is the rise of country production of goods and services. It shows how well a country's economy doing and usually measured by GDP. When the economy grows, people get more jobs, earn more money, and their living standard can be improved.
The economic growth theory is divided into three parts. That is classical theory, classical growth, neoclassical growth, and endogenous growth. The classical economic theory was started by Adam Smith in 1776 with other contribution from David Ricardo and Robert Malthus. According to this theory, economic growth best when markets are free, workers are productive, and business operate without too much government interference. For example, if a country let market force decide the price itself, it can help balance supply and demand, leading to stable growth. This is the classical growth theory. Professor Solo and Professor Wan say that just adding more worker or machine won't keep an economy growing forever. At the same point, extra input lead to diminishing return. That's meaning each new worker or machine add less growth than before. This is the simple formula: Y equal to A times F, KL. K that means machines, factories, and tools. L is labor, that means workers, technology. A that is mean innovation and efficiency.
So for the next, endogenous growth theory, based on the Paul Romer and the Robert Malthus, say that the growth comes from the human choices like the education, innovation, and government policy. So the factor that impact for this growth theory is about the human capital, knowledge and technology, government policy, and then the private sector innovation. So next, for the main formula of the GDP growth rate, it is measure how much a country economy grow in over time, and by expressed as a percentage change in the GDP. So for the economic growth rate is equal to GDP2 minus GDP1, and then divided by GDP1 times 100. So for the GDP1 is about the GDP in earlier period, which is the last year, and then GDP2 is the GDP in the recent period, which is the in this year.
Now I will continue the trend of the economic growth in Malaysia from 2013 to 2022. In 2013, Malaysia GDP recorded a 4.7% increase, driven by strong internal demand and high private sector contribution. In 2014, the GDP growth increased to 6%, reflecting a 1.3% rise from the previous year, supported by driving service and manufacturing sectors. In 2015, there was a decrease in GDP growth to 5.1, a drop of 0.9 due to falling crude oil price and declining export revenue. In 2016, GDP growth further decreased to 4.4% and 0.7 decline from 2015 as a result of shrinking global demand and economic uncertainties internationally. In 2017, the GDP growth increased to 5.8%, showing a 1.4 rise, mainly driven by strong performance in service and manufacturing and high demand for OEM products.
In 2018, Malaysian GDP growth increased to 4.8%, a drop of 1% from the previous year, mainly due to the decline in agriculture in many output, including a drop in natural gas and crude palm oil productions. And in 2019, the GDP growth further decreased to 4.4%, a decline of 0.4% caused by a lower global trade and falling commodity prices. Although strong private consumption partially offset the impact of weak export demand. In 2020, GDP sharply decreased by 10.3%, resulting in a negative growth rate of negative 5.5% as the country was severely affected by COVID-19 pandemic. The implementation of the Movement Control Order (MCO) and widespread disruption across all sectors, especially service, tourism, and constructions. And in 2021, the economy recovered with a GDP increase to 3.3%, reflecting an 8.8% rise from 2020, supported by the gradual reopening of the economy, a rise in domestic travel, and increased vaccination coverage that boosted business activity in the second half of the year. So last in 2022, GDP growth further increased to 8.7%, a 5.4% rise driven by the full reopening of the economy, improvement in the labour market, and strong domestic and foreign demand, with notable growth in the service, manufacturing, and construction sectors. Following are the solutions to improve economic growth in Malaysia. The first one are human capital development, and the second one are the promotion of innovation and technology, following by economic diversification and driving infrastructure development and smart cities, and the last one environmental sustainability and green economy.
Next, I will continue conclusion. Economic growth measured by GDP or GNP reflects the country's progress through rising production and better living standards. From 2013 to 2022, Malaysia experienced steady growth driven by domestic demand and the services and manufacturing sectors. However, challenges like COVID-19, global uncertainties, and underinvestment in key areas limited long-term progress. Despite setbacks, Malaysia has strong potential due to its industrial base and young workforce to sustain inclusive growth. Structural reforms, human capital development, and innovation are essential.
Thank you for taking time to watch. I hope you found the content informative and relevant to our study in economic growth and development.